60% coming from the roof, it's really nice to start cooking, for example, because I know 60% of my own of my energy used here on the stove is actually coming from the roof. Well, this is actually a picture of the installation of my solar power
2 years ago.
Installation about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And I've decided to install photovoltaic on solar power on my roof in order to decrease my energy bills and to make a valuable contribution to climate change.
Is that so ideological for you?
Yeah.
It's not economical reason or money reason?
No, it's really, I'm joining lots of Germans who do it for idealistic reasons in the first place, and only in the second place the economic reasons play a role. Solar production of the photovoltaic of my rooftop, and each kilowatt hour which I'm producing myself, I'm saving money, because the generation cost of the electricity from the roof is only 11 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas if I have to buy a kilowatt hour from the utility company, I have to pay 30
compared to 17,
compared to 11.
Compared to 11, okay.
So
sorry.
Each kilowatt hour which I'm producing myself with photovoltaics makes economically sense because it saves me 19 cents.
19 cents.
And on top, each kilowatt hour which I'm feeding into the grid, so the surplus electricity which is produced, I'm getting 12 cents.
But you have 4 seasons here in Europe. You have winter, so how do you deal with that?
Okay, in winter the solar production is relatively small, which usually one would expect. Already in spring it climbs up, and we can see here the peak season as clearly summer, and then it declines again. So because the energy production or the energy consumption of a typical household in Germany is more or less the same throughout the whole year. So you have probably about here you have the electricity consumption of the house. So in summer I'm producing a big surplus, and in winter I'm producing less, so I have to buy in electricity from the utility.
Okay, so basically this house, you mentioned before that you save about 19 cents per kilowatt hour. But in the first time you have to deal with big investment, right? Because it's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
How much?
It's about 30,000 euro, the whole installation, and I'm getting subsidies, about 10% for the solar panels, and I'm getting subsidies of the battery of about 20%. So altogether, and I'm getting also the VAT back. So altogether the net cost of this installation is about 20,000 euro, and the energy savings plus the surplus energy I'm feeding in the net will have a break-even point after approximately 12 to 14 years, and after that the installation costs are paid off and I'm producing electricity for myself.
Government give you subsidy?
Yeah, that's the so-called German feed-in tariff.
Yeah, but still you have to spend 20,000, you have to pay 20,000 euro in the first place, right? How you get the money?
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of people, lots of Germans who buy expensive cars which cost about 30,000, 40,000 or 50,000, and they lose value already from the first year. So you might lose 6,000 euro value, and here I'm gaining value. I'm actually hoping to also having some contributions to my pensions in 12 years. When I will be retired, I will getting profit from this installation. But the nice thing is I can each hour the sun shines, I will actually produce energy. The energy will be produced without CO2, so that's important to save the climate and save the planet, and I'm at the same time earning money. So this photovoltaic installation has saved me already 6,000 euro in 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why it's idealistic reasons, and it also makes economically sense. It's perfect, yeah.
Yeah, but how you get your $20,000 in the Fed? You get from credit from bank?
Yes, I mean, it's probably I paid about 6 to 10,000 euro on my savings, and the remaining sum I actually took a government loan for very low interest. Yeah, so the government also provides loans for this kind of installation at a very low interest, and I have to pay it back in 10 years, and the interest is 0.75%.
So basically government helps you in two ways. First, get the subsidies for the installation, and then second, give you a lowest interest rate as possible while you doing credit in bank.
Exactly, and that's the whole idea of why the government has actually came up with the idea of feeding-in tariff, to make financially incentives, or to give financial incentives for house owners and people like energy cooperatives to invest in renewable energies. And of course, if you got some kind of financial incentive, it's much easier as if it's without financial incentive.
Yeah, I saw many houses here is not installed yet with this kind of technology. If it's so easy, like you said before, the government gives subsidy, why people didn't install it massively?
Well, it depends. Yeah, so here in Riga we already have production of maybe 20%. In our village we have already production of about 20% renewable energy, because we have 2 solar parks. Yeah, so 2 large photovoltaic installations. Plus we got all the roof installations, so they're producing already about 20%. In other villages we already have electricity production of about 200%. So that's a combination between wind power and solar power, and there you find more or less 50% of the roofs already covered with solar installations. So it's different speeds. Some villages, some areas are being more progressive, yeah, and also it depends on maybe the village or the municipality also gives some additional support. Like example, in this Kecamatan we have at the moment a campaign, a solar campaign. In Germany we just don't focus on renewable energy as solar, but for a tropical country like Indonesia, solar might be the single most important power source.
Yeah, but now we still have about 70% depend on coal. So why it's so difficult? It's more political business model thing, or I don't know. Based on your experience here in Germany, where you start from? Where did you start?
It's political, yeah. First of all, you have to have a political decision to actually focus on renewable energies. Of course, if the political decision is to keep running on fossil fuels, we will keep contaminating atmosphere with CO2. In Germany we had the situation as well. We were massively, or we were exclusively dependent on nuclear power and on fossil fuels. But then 2001, with the help of the Green Party, the political decision was made to switch to renewable energies, and since then we have this increase. Yeah, so since then we have a system in place which offers financial incentives to private companies, to private house owners, and to private landowners to actually invest in renewable energies.